Thursday night online chess lesson. This is Robert Jamieson. I'm on my lonesome today, but somewhere out there in country Victoria I have Joe Flexmore. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good.
Now, whereabouts are you? Castlemaine or somewhere like that?
Yeah. Castlemaine.
Castlemaine. It says Winters Flat Primary, and your rating's 1,038. And how old are you?
12.
12, okay. I see you won your last tournament 7-0 there too, so that's rather good, the Macedon Rangers thing. So well done on that. Let's just put that screen away. Right, now firstly, I think I should mention the RJ Shield we had on Sunday, which I thought was a really good tournament. We had 61 players in Bentley, and I think 25 at Doncaster. I thought it was a pretty good standard at Bentley. The only trouble is everyone's moving too fast, with the one exception, of course, of William, who won the tournament because he played slowly and carefully and didn't make as many mistakes as anyone else. So I hope the rest of you guys will learn a lesson from that and slow down a little bit. Okay, now, Joe, I've got a little puzzle there from Sunday. What did you think was the best move for black in that position?
I was tossing up knight f3 check and bishop h3.
Okay, and did you reach a conclusion which one you preferred?
Not really.
Not really, okay. Yeah, because chess gets pretty hard when you've got sort of lots of attractive moves that all look quite good. So black could choose, he could play bishop h3, which seems to pick up the exchange because white's got to play g3 and we can then take the rook. So that would be a free exchange. You could play bishop e2, which wins the exchange again because that's hitting the queen and the rook. You could play c6, which because the bishop's trapped, so you're picking up a bishop for a pawn. You could play bishop f3, which looks pretty good, and some of you have chosen bishop f3, like Max and Sam and everyone. White's forced to play g3, and then you hop in there and win the queen. That's the only way white can get out of checkmate. So that looks fairly good on the face of it. Unfortunately, in the game, black chose bishop h3 and just won the exchange, which wasn't very exciting. And I was standing behind him, screaming at him, play knight f3 check, which some of you have got. I think Ryan got knight f3. Because you've got a mating attack, it's mate in 8 with the queen, the bishop, and the knight. So white would have to move his king in the corner. And what would you do then, Joe? What would be good for black?
Queen h5.
Queen h5 looks pretty good, threatening h2. Now he can sack his queen and the bishop to delay things a bit, but he's virtually got to play h3 at some stage and then you just take him. If he takes the bishop, it's going to be checkmate. If he takes the knight, it's going to be checkmate. So that would have been a quick way to finish off the game. Right, let's load our first game for today. We'll do this one. But before we get stuck into your games, I have been showing some of the games live from Turkey. Do you follow any of the live games on the internet at all, Joe? You into that or not?
I haven't been doing much of that really.
All right. Well,
I usually just play my own games.
Okay. Because like if you're home at night with nothing to do and you want to do a bit of chess or something, there's always tournaments on. At the moment it's pretty exciting because we've got the Australian Olympiad team playing in Turkey. I think they're playing their 3rd round tonight. So they have live games, I think it starts about 11 o'clock. But more fun for you kids, we have the under-16 team playing in Turkey as well with Justin Tan and Lawrence Matheson and Bobby Ching and whatever. So I've given you the link on the previous screen over there. What was it? live1.tsf.org.tr, and it brings up a screen like this. So there's Justin Tan's position. They must be playing now. It's ideal timing for us because it's about tea time and we can follow them. Or you can look at Bobby Ching's game. Now, what you do, if you're interested in improving and using these games to help you improve, what you do is you sit there and say it's Bobby's turn to move. You try and work out what move you'd play for Bobby. So you think, I'd play pawn there or knight there or something, and then you wait and you see his move. And if you get it right, that's great, you're improving. And if he does a different move, you can think, hang on, well, he's better than me. Why has he chosen that move? You can sort of work out his way of thinking just by comparing your moves with his. So that's a really good way to improve. So if you guys are doing nothing later on tonight, log on and have a look at some of these under 16 games. It should be quite exciting. Right, now, do you get much chess up in Castlemaine? What tournaments do you have up there, Joe?
Well, we have about a school tournament a month, and I play a lot of online chess.
Okay, they don't have a senior club? I think there's a club at Ballarat, isn't there?
Yeah, there's one up at Bendigo.
Bendigo as well, okay. Oh, well, later on, perhaps, if you're old and you want to play senior chess, you can pop into one of them and get a few games. Okay, now, we've got, you sent me some of your games, which I've played through, and I've chosen two to have a fairly quick look at. Now, I think one of the messages I want to get across to you is, many juniors, I think you like taking, swapping off pieces and capturing and all that sort of stuff, and probably you make captures in some positions when it's not necessarily the best move. So I'll see if I can demonstrate that to you in your games today. Now, the first one says Joe against online players. So this was just an online game against some random person, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you were white. You played Damiano's defence. That was a bit of a shock. Do you know what to do against that?
Yeah.
Yeah, just take his pawn, which was good. It's a pretty crummy opening. You seem to be a pawn up with a crushing position, but we'll see what happened. So you got the 2 pawns side by side and chased him back. That looks okay. Now his pieces are developing fairly quickly. He's putting a bit of pressure on your D pawn. So you gain some space there. He chopped. He comes in for a check on your, or not a check, well, an attack on your queen and threatening check on C2. But you can get out of it with a counter check, hitting his knight. The only way you can save his knight is to put the queen in the way. And you then swapped off the queens, covered bishop D3. Did you have a look at what move he might reply in answer to bishop D3? Was there anything that worried you at all? Remember?
I hadn't noticed it at the time, but maybe knight takes C4 could be a problem.
Yeah, I'd have a good look at knight takes C4 in case he wants to sack there. Now maybe you can trap his knight on A1 if it goes C2 check and end up with two pieces to rook and pawn or something. Or maybe you can't take it if it goes on C4. So just a little thing to be careful of. But he didn't do that. He castled, and you naturally hit his knight. So we're a pawn up, and he played C5. All right, so this is the first spot I want to have a little think about it. So I'm going to have a poll, and I'll give you guys a choice of 3 moves to choose from. What move you think Joe should play? So should he take en passant? Pawn takes C6. So actually, David's written D6 or E6. So it will be pawn takes C6. Or should he play bishop takes knight on D4? Or should Joe just castle queen side? So they're the 3 choices I want you to have a look at. So pawn takes pawn en passant, bishop takes knight, or castles. So start voting, everyone, on what you'd like to do. En passant, take the knight, castles. So at the moment, castles hit the lead. En passant's coming last, oh no, equal last. Bishop takes knight's coming equal last. En passant's catching up. We only got 70% voted, 84% voted, a couple more than we need to vote. All right, close it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's have a look. So castle 68%, bishop takes D4 18%, and en passant 14%. So which would you prefer, Joe?
I voted castles.
Okay, now why did you vote castles?
It just seems more positional, I guess.
Okay, more positional, all right. But you didn't do that in the game, did you?
No.
Remember? You took en passant in the game.
Yeah.
So why have you changed your mind?
Well, I guess with en passant, I always jump at the chance. Although it's not always a good move, but I guess.
It shows you know the rule and looks really sexy sort of thing to take a pawn en passant. All right, well, you could take it en passant, which is like that. Now, before you do that, you probably analyse. You'd say, okay, well, he's going to take me back. Is he going to take back with a pawn or the knight? He might take back with the knight because that gives a discovered attack on my bishop. What could I do then? I'd have to protect that bishop. Maybe I castle. What could he do? Maybe he stops my check. Or he could play knight e5 with a double attack on my bishop and the c-pawn. So there's a few things to analyse. All right. But the alternative is to not analyse and look at the big picture, sort of like a positional assessment. So would you like to tell me, you said it's good positionally to castle. Would you like to explain that to everyone so we can understand what you're talking about?
My king's currently on an open file.
Yep.
Which can get a discovered attack from a rook.
Yep. So you've got to make your king safe at some stage. Yep.
And the A rook of mine, it would be good to get that active.
Yep. Any other things in your position you like at the moment that you don't like if you do en passant?
Pawns in the centre?
Yeah. So what you've got to say to yourself is, firstly, I'm swapping my D pawn for his C pawn. Which is the better pawn? Now yours is a big supported pass pawn sitting in the middle of the board, whereas his isn't a pass pawn and it's a bit off to the side. So yours is a much stronger pawn. And if you have a look at Black's position, what are his pieces doing? His knight on B6 isn't really doing much, so long as it can't sacrifice on C4. His knight on D4 looks pretty good, but it can't really go anywhere. Bishop on E7. Black hasn't got much to do. And you're a pawn ahead, more space. So all you do is castles, and you're positionally crushing him. Whereas if you do the en passant, he's got a few threats. It's a bit more tactical. His rook's opened up, you know. So when you're making decisions, you need to not only analyse the move and work it out, but also look at the big picture, whether it's good or bad from the big picture point of view. All right, in the game you chopped castles. He played G6. You developed your other rook. Then he jumped in with a double attack on your bishop and that C pawn. You drop back, which looks like it loses a pawn, but you get it back because you get the A pawn. And he did another swap. So you pawn up in the ending. So it's all looking fairly good. He went in for a check, king up. His knight went back to probably a not super good square. You hit his knight, he moved away. You kept going forwards with your knight to chase that bishop away. That was good. So all this is looking pretty good. Oh, now your king's attacking. So how do you reckon you're going here, Joe?
Winning.
Winning. So what's your plan going to be? How are you going to win?
I get rid of his pawns and try and promote mine.
So which pawns are you getting rid of, or how are you getting rid of them? Because they're all lovely and protected and nice and safe. And
yeah, his B pawn.
His B pawn. It'd be good if you get rid of that B pawn, wouldn't it? Because then you'd have a passed pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So where on the board should you be directing your attention and trying to get some play and stuff?
A, B, and C files?
Yeah. So the general rule is, I want all you guys to keep in your brain, you play where you have an advantage. So Joe has 2 pawns to 1 on the queen side, so hopefully he can eventually get a passed pawn there. So Joe should be looking at sort of trying to get those pawns moving to get a passed pawn or chase that knight away and focusing on that. So you may be doing that, but you may also be doing a strange king attack. We'll have to see how we go. He gave you a check. You kept coming forwards. He went there, attacking your pawn. You went there, and he pushed his pawn up to f4. All right. Now, people, type in for me. Should Joe take that pawn on f4, or should he leave it there and do something else? So take or not take. So on the questions, can you type in for me? Take, not take. Not take, sit the lead. Ryan says not take. Mitch says push. Rebecca likes rook d5. Not take, not take. So what did you do in the game, Joe? Do you remember?
I probably took.
I think you took. Everyone's screaming, not take, exclamation mark. So why did you take?
Well, it looked like a good pawn to take.
Right, it's just swapping pawn for pawn though, so why would that be good? Just an even exchange, isn't it?
The less pieces they have, pieces or pawns, I guess, the better, because they get less play.
You're ahead, you're trying to win, aren't you? So what shouldn't you be swapping?
Pawns.
Pawns, yeah, you should be swapping pieces. So if you're taking, you're opening up for his bishop, and then his bishop's attacking your h pawn, and you've got isolated pawns. So this is what I'm saying, where I think sometimes you're just taking for the sake of taking, or not really thinking it through properly. So that was a little bit of a mistake. Now you hit him with a check, and he decided to give up his bishop. That's fine, but now he's getting his rook in. You start moving your pawns, so that's okay. But now his knight's beginning to annoy us. And worse than that, he's got a double attack on our two pawns now. So a bit of a pickle. So you kept zooming ahead. I'm not quite sure where you're going. What was your plan here?
Attack.
What are you attacking?
His end of the board.
His end of the board. So your goal is to get your king to h8 and then you win or something. Is that the plan?
Well, it would be good to get...
Would be good to get your king to h8.
Well, no, just like behind his pieces.
Yeah. When he's got rooks and knights, it's probably a bit early to be attacking with your king. Your king should be staying by those two pawns on the A and B file and trying to ferry them through. That'd be the way to go. You've got to play where you've got advantage, but your king's sort of going on a picnic somewhere. Anyway, we'll see what happens. So he gives you a check, and then there's a swap off, and now he takes your pawn. So we're not a pawn up anymore, and he has this naughty H pawn. So the position has changed a bit now. So what should you be doing now?
Going for his pawns?
Yes, you might be losing. So I'd head over and try and snaffle some of those pawns. So what move would you make?
King E5?
King E5 would have been my make, but you're still heading off for H8, which is a bit of a mystery. So he pushes his pawn, you push your pawn, and now Houston, we have a problem. His knight's going to escort that pawn through. It's going to cost us a bishop. So here we go, swap, swap, and we've got his pawn. And then his king starts coming up. All right, so the boot's on the other foot now a bit. He's got knight for two pawns. Do you think you can draw this, or you think it's a loss or a win, or what do you think?
I reckon I could have drawn.
Okay, so how would you draw? What would be your plan to draw?
Counterattack on the A and B files.
Counterattack, what does that mean? What are you counterattacking with?
My pawns.
Okay, it's not so much a counterattack. The way you're going to draw, you have to get that last pawn and swap that pawn off. So you have to hopefully lure his king and knight over to stop your F pawn, and then thunder up with your A and B pawn and see if you can get a swap off so he's got no pawns left. So that should be the plan. You push this one. He went there. Now you probably should have played A5 or something like that to keep his pawn at bay and threatening B4, B5. Whoops, I'm going back the wrong way. But you kept pushing on, and that has a problem because now he's going to win that pawn. If you had to push to F7, he's got knight E5 check. So he ran away, he just took it. Then you started pushing the pawns, but it's a bit late. And we lost. Drat. So, where did we go wrong in that game? I think we were winning, weren't we? We were a nice solid safe D5 pawn ahead with no problems.
Yeah, I took my king out too early.
Yeah, you sort of went walkabout with your king in the wrong spot. Your king should have stayed on the other side of the board. Did you make any other little mistakes?
Swapping off pawns when I had the lead.
Swapping off that pawn on F4, so making your H pawn weak and everything. That was a bit of a boo-boo. And then probably just at the end, I think you could still have drawn with A5, but you must have miscalculated or you hadn't gotten onto the plan of pushing that A and B pawn. Anyway, all right, no problems. While we're here, let's just check how Bobby's going. Let's have a look. What's happening here? What do you reckon? Is he doing all right, or White's going better there? It's still pretty early days. What do you think? You prefer White or Black in Bobby's position? Probably a bit early yet.
I think I'd rather White.
Well, it's got a bit more of the centre, but Bobby's playing like Darryl, where you sort of counter-attack the centre with your bishops later on. Let's have a quick look. See, I think they're showing the top 24 games, and our guys are seated 6, so we've got our players in the top 24 at the moment. Let's have a look at Justin. He would have had an interesting game. 3-6, so he's a pawn up, but the other guy's got his knight in a good posse. How do you think Justin's going there?
I reckon he's winning.
Yeah, he might be threatening to take on C4, and then even if the other guy jumps into E3 and wins the exchange, Justin can win another pawn on A6, and he'll have 3 pawns for an exchange maybe. So hopefully he's going all right there. All right, we'll put that away. All right, so back. All right, we need to. Where am I? File, load game. Let's have a look. Against your game against Liam. Was that in the camp at Tasmania, or where was that one? Do you remember against Liam Harrison?
Was this the Chess Kids one?
Yeah, it must be the camp in Tasmania, I think.
I reckon it might have been online.
Or it might have been online, might it? Oh, okay. All right.
Chess Kids.
Yes, you play a bit of Chess Kids online, don't you? And Leanne does also. All right, so you're White. So let's get stuck into it, see what we've got. E4, E5, 9, 6. You're a Right Lopez man.
Yep.
Why do you play Lopez? Most of the kids play Bishop C4 or Knight C3 and boring stuff like that. So why do you choose Right Lopez?
It's very complicated, but I have time to look at all the lines, so I guess that gives me an advantage.
You know a few of the lines then? Yeah, probably most of your opponents won't have played so much against the Right Lopez as against Knight C3 or Bishop C4, so that's a good plot. D6, he probably should have played A6. Knight C3.
Yeah.
Is that the best move, or is it something else you should do?
I think D4 might have been better.
Yes, D4 would be the normal move in this position. Actually, I don't know whether Lachlan's here tonight. Whoops, I'm in the computer playing itself mode. I was watching some of the games in the RJ Shield, and Lachlan played this line, which looks silly, because it looks like it's losing a piece, but he gets it back with a counter-attack on the bishop. I think this was Lachlan's game against William. It was eventually a draw. So that's one of the lines, but certainly D4 to me looks like a better move. Often in the Roy Lopez you put your pawn on C3 because your bishop's got to duck back and hide on C2 and everything. Anyway, we'll go with the knight C3 line. So he pinned his castle. Now he hit the bishop. All right, let's put it to a vote, folks. What would you do here? Your bishop's attacked. Do you take the knight? Do you drop back to A4 or C4 or E2? So type in on the questions what move you'd like Joe to play here with his bishop. Mitch is going take. Heath likes A4. Daniel's going take, because Daniel likes taking everything. Rebecca's and Evan going A4. Bobby's taking. Benji's taking. Rahman C4, Gemma's A4. It's a bit all over the shop. If you had your time again, which would you do? Joe, which do you prefer now?
Well, A4 seems a bit out of the game.
But it keeps the pin on. Keeps the pin on, doesn't it?
It does, but B5 would just kind of push me back.
Push you back, true.
Maybe Bishop E2.
Bishop E2. It's pretty safe and defensive and stuff. Nice and solid. You wouldn't take the knight?
No.
Okay. What about C4? Zoe wants to take the knight. Lachlan likes C4.
C4's alright.
You went back to C4. All right. Silly question. Haven't you just given him a free move and wasted your time? If you wanted it on C4, you could have put it there straight away. Now you went to B5. He's chucked in A6, which is a handy move, and you're going back again. So is it like waste of time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're playing Roy Lopez, you've either got to take or go back to A4, I think. I mean, C4's all right, but it just looks like a waste of time. I think I'd probably take him because I'm used to playing the exchange Lopez, so I like doubling his pawns and keeping my pawns nice. Anyway, we'll see what happens. He puts the knight out, D3. Now he's come in and he's pinning your knight with the double attack, and you can't protect it again, so there goes our pawn structure, but never mind. Develop the bishop. He took, you took, he hit your rook, you have to go there. Now fortunately he hasn't got any pieces to back up that attack with. Bishop E7. All right, let's everyone give us some help here. So Joe's got his pawns doubled and his king's a bit open, but he's got his pieces developed except for his queen and his A rook. What should white play here? So type in what you guys think white should play here. I'm getting F4 from a few people. Evan, Ryan, Lachlan, they're all going F4. Rebecca likes F4, Mitch likes D4. Lachlan's having a penny each way and going knight E2 now. Roman and Heath F4, Zoe's going D4, Bobby's going D4. All right, which on reflection do you prefer, Joe?
F4.
F4, so tell me about F4, why is that good?
It undoubles my pawns.
True. Okay, well, it's a bit of a toss-up. F4 gets rid of your double pawns, but it opens your king up a little bit more and weakens your white squares a little bit. because that pawn's sort of doing a handy job. I mean, you can hide your king on h1 and put a rook on g1, and he's probably not going to do anything terribly naughty there because you've got everything covered. So you played d4 in the game, which I think I'm fairly happy with. Because if Black's plan is to attack you on the king side, like he'd love to get his queen over there somehow, the general thing you do is if someone's attacking you on the flank, you counter-attack in the center. So d4, counter-attack in the center, maybe threatening to swap off the queen so you can't get a checkmating attack going. So I think d4 was probably the way to go. He castled, so chops, chops. Now, what move would you play here in about 1 second flat, do you reckon, Joe?
Queen takes d8.
I reckon you go queen takes d8, you get, you beauty, another swap. Did you consider anything else, or you just jump in for the big swap?
The swap.
Okay. Well, it probably doesn't matter too much in this position, but the rules of swapping is like normally you wouldn't swap if he can recapture with developing move and maybe he's getting control of the file. So you're helping him with a free developing move when he's recaptured with his A rook. But of course you can contest the file yourself, so it's no big deal. But the other thing to think of is maybe you can seize the file. So if I was white, I'd have a bit of a look at queen e2, then I'm sort of threatening, put my rook on d1, chase his queen away, and maybe I can get the file a bit. Or I could even leave it there, do something else. I could do, what could I do? Maybe a3, and then he might swap with me. And then you've gained a move because your rook's on the file and you've gained a3. So, you know, even in a position like this where queen takes queen does no harm, it's worth having a look at the alternatives. So you swapped, he swapped, you challenged. Now we're having a great time. Yeah, look at all these rooks. Oh, drat! I was hoping he was going to play rook d8 and we keep swapping because he's chickened out and played h6. All right. Now you went f4 to get rid of that double pawn. That's possibly okay. Chops, chops, and you're attacking his pawn on c7. So he pushed it up a square. All right. How do you reckon you're going here, Joe?
I'd say I'm winning because my pieces are more active.
Okay, so you've got three minor pieces out. He's got three minor pieces out, but your rook's got the file. Material's equal. So you'd probably say it's a little bit better for you, but you might be struggling to find something to do. Is there any obvious sort of strategy you can see here or plan that's worth a look at? Be nice to infiltrate with that rook, but he's got all the squares covered.
Bishop c7.
Bishop c7, that's possibly okay. If I could get that bishop to b6, I'd be quite happy, and then he can't get the file. Trouble is he can probably play b5 and chase our bishop back, and then he might play rook c8 and chase that bishop away. So bishop c7, that's definitely worth a look. Anything else you'd have a look at? Rebecca is going rook d3. Some people are saying a4.
Rook d3 sounds good.
Yeah, rook d3 to chase his bishop away. That might be good. What you did is you chased his horse away with e5. And he jumped over to h5 attacking your bishop. So now you've probably got to move that bishop either to e3 or g3. So I might have another little poll. So I'll give you guys a choice. Your bishop's attacked. Do you want to put it on e3? Do you want to put it on g3? So start voting. Bishop to e3, bishop to g3. Oh, it's 50-50 at the moment. Oh no, e3 is slightly ahead. No, back to 50-50. Oh, 72% voted. I need some more votes to break the tie. Still 50-50 with 80% voted. Come on, someone who hasn't voted, vote to break the tie. Otherwise we've got a draw. We'll have to have a recount. All right, I'll close the poll. Here we go. And it's 52% like E3, 48% like G3. That was very close. Which one do you prefer?
I need G3.
Why do you prefer G3?
Just seems right.
Just looks right. All right, I'll see if Gary's awake. Are you there, Gary? Gary Lynn, talk to me. Not going to talk to me? All right, I'll try someone else. Evan, are you there, Evan?
Yep.
Yep. So, were you voting for G3 or for E3?
E3.
E3, all right, because Joe's sort of preferring G3. So why do you prefer E3?
I'd like to keep my bishop, maybe get it to a nice diagonal, I suppose.
Okay. So you're saying that's a better square for the bishop and he can't swap off the knight for the bishop?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sounds pretty convincing. All right. Thank you very much, Evan. All right. What do you think, Joe? Has he convinced you or you prefer G3 still?
Still like G3.
Okay. Well, you play G3. I think you're probably wrong. So what we have to do, first off, we have to say which is the better square for the piece. All right, so what's it doing on G3? It's sort of bumping into all those pawns. Now, sure, it's protecting your E pawn, but apart from that, it's not doing much. If you put it on E3, it's sort of like looking towards the king side and looking towards the queen side and stopping him putting his bishop on C5, which would be a good spot for his bishop. And if you're worried about defending your E pawn, you can just play pawn to F4 probably to protect them. Then you've got the issue of whether his knight would take the bishop. So does that worry you, swapping the knight for the bishop, or that's just piece for piece, do you think?
It undoubles my pawn. I mean, it unisolates my pawn.
So you'd be happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Probably good to have the bishops, the two bishops. He chopped because his knight's not doing much on the side of the board and you undoubled your pawn, so double-edged sword, but I think I agree with the 52%. I would have put my bishop on E3 for slight preference. Anyway, let's see what happens now. He attacks your rook. Is that a good attack?
No.
No, it looks like a waste of time to me. So you attacked his bishop. So then he went back there. So he's given you a free move, so that was nice of him. Okay, so you chopped, he chopped, and you did the obvious move, which is what?
Rook D7.
Why is that the obvious move?
It's a, what are they called? Not skewer.
It's a double attack. All right, but is it a good double attack or can you get out of it? Where can he move that bishop with a counter attack? Bishop C5. So he's not in fact losing a pawn, but you've got your rook in the ideal spot. Because what's the most important thing in rook endings, Joe? Remind me. 2nd
and 7th rank.
No, it's active rook. Most important thing in rook endings, active rook, active rook. Write that down 100 times. Anyway, you've got the active rook now, so you're going all right. And you can get out of his attack by knight E4, hitting his bishop. And now the B pawn's attack, so he went there. Right, so how do you reckon you're going? You're winning, losing, drawing?
Winning.
Winning. Why are you winning?
Well, if I take his bishop, he would take back with the B pawn, and I can go rook to C7.
Something like that. Well, all his pawns are stuffed, and you've got the active rook.
Yeah.
So that should be good. All right, so everyone, what would white play here? Type in what move you'd like to play for white. There's a few reasonably good moves. So I've got Sam with knight takes bishop, Lachlan the same, Raman the same. Vinny wants knight takes c6, which is illegal. Lachlan wants rook c6, which is also illegal. Everyone's taking. Now they're, oh, no, hang on. Evan's gone rook c7. All right. Pretty well everyone's taking. And what did you do in the game, Joe? You took. You remember you took? Did you consider anything else?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Anyway, taking is obvious because A, you really like taking, and B, it stuffs up all his pawns. So there's nothing to think about, is there?
No.
Oh, in fact, there is something to think about if you're really tricky. Let me ask you a question. This is like in the Rilo pairs where you play bishop b5 and you don't take the knight till they force you to with a6. Is that bishop going anywhere?
Not really.
It can't really get out of the capture. Like it goes to b4, we just play c3 and attack it. So it can't really get out of the capture, can it? So instead of taking it now, maybe we could make a move that would improve our position, and then we take a next move. So does that give you any idea what you could do just to be a little bit sneaky?
Rook to c7?
Maybe. I was just thinking even just king g2. And he can't really improve his position, and then next move we're going to take him anyway. And we're sort of gained the square with our king. So just another little example that whilst everyone would take, and taking it's a good move, sometimes you can just defer it if the piece can't run away. So anyway, you chopped him, he chopped. Now, your rook has got lots of exciting places it can go to attack pawns, or you can do other stuff. So let's have a little poll. I think I've got a poll here. Oh, not here. No, not have a poll yet. Type in the question. Where should Joe play that rook to attack stuff? So Gemma likes rook c7, Rebecca rook c7, Mitch likes d6, Sam likes d6, Ryan likes d6, Daniel likes c7. About 50-50. Half are going to d6, half are going to c7. Which one do you like, Joe?
d6.
Yeah, I think I like d6 as well. So attacking two pawns at once and still keeping the file and everything. I think you went c7, didn't you? I think. Yes, you went c7 instead. And now he counterattacked the b pawn. Right, so choice for you. Should you take that pawn on c6, or should you do something like b3 to defend the b pawn? So I'll have a little poll. So Joe's choices: take the pawn on c6 or play pawn to b3. So which do you choose? Take or b3? At the moment b3's hit the lead. Rook c6 is coming a fairly distant second. Yep, b3's romping it in. So we've got 83% like b3. Do you remember what you did, Joe?
Probably took.
You probably took. I think you definitely took. Have a look. Right. You there, Ryan?
Yes.
All right, that's 3 yeses too many, but never mind. So did you play B3 or you took on C6?
B3.
All right, you explain to Joe why you reckon B3 is better.
Because like that pawn can't go much anywhere, and if he goes rook B6 to defend his pawn, we can go rook E7 and attack his pawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because if you take that pawn, he takes your 7th rank, and he might chomp down all your pawns.
Yeah. So if you're trying to win, what don't you want to do?
Swap off pawns.
Correct. Thank you very much, Ryan. Yeah. So you made a boo-boo here. If you're trying to win this game, you play B3. And then he's got the weak pawns and you can gobble them all up. But you chopped them, so now he can counter-attack your pawns. So it's like big pawn swap off. And we get down to 3 against 3. Now, is this just a draw, or is it better for you or him, or what did you think here, Joe?
I reckon I still might have the advantage because his C-pawn has pressure on it, but my E-pawn doesn't.
Yeah, it's better for you because basically you have the active rook. Remember the saying, rooks belong behind passed pawns, so you've got your rook in that good attacking spot and his rook's in the defensive spot. But, so what should you do here? To give you a little bit of a chance. Any idea?
E6?
I think you did E6, maybe F4 would be okay. You come across, you could bring your king across, and you got him under a little bit of pressure with those pawns going up like that. I think you can still eventually swap off and get a draw, but probably F4 would be the go. You actually went E6, so let's see how that turns out. He went and attacked it. Maybe that's not the best move. All right, everyone, what should white play here? Joe's trying to swindle a win out of a drawn position. Any idea what move he should play here? Gemma's gone F4, he's gone rook C8 check. Mitch has gone king F2, which is illegal. Joe's gone rook C8, Jason rook C8. Rebecca's gone king F1. So any of them appeal to you, Joe?
Rook C8?
No, that's what you played. What about king F1? So that's hitting his rook. So like if his rook goes somewhere up here, say E5 to defend his pawn, you can chase him away again. And if his rook stays on that file, your king can come up and attack his rook. And he's still got to defend his c-pawn, so that will give you a little bit of a chance. Just a little chance. Anyway, you went in for the check. He went away, and then we had chop, chop. And now we're getting almost down to the most boring position you can think of. You hit him with a check, he went back. Now you did something funny here. Do you know what you did here?
Check.
Check. Why did you check him? Isn't your rook in the best spot on the 7th, keeping his king out?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit of a blunder. I would have played king G4 and hope he doesn't play rook F7. But check turns out to be the winning move because I'll show you guys what happened. Have a look at this. Now poor old Liam didn't say, what's my opponent going to reply? He played king F5 and then Joe hit him with G4 check. Wow, what a finish, eh? So you swindled him well and truly there because he wasn't paying attention to what you were going to do in reply to his king F5. So, well done. Good swindle. And you were better for most of that game, so you probably deserved to win it anyway. Now, Lachlan's screaming at me that before we close, we should have a quick look at Justin's game. So, let's have a look here. There might be something exciting happening. Oh, hang on. Justin's got a queen for a couple of rooks. And he's got a million pawns. So it looks like Justin's doing pretty well. Let's have a look at Bobby. No, it didn't go. I'll try again. See if it'll do Bobby's game. 3-6, 3-6 even material. Probably could still go either way. So Bobby's got a fairly active position. So that'll be interesting. So, Joe, what can we learn from your games today? What's the main thing?
Active rooks.
Active rooks, and what about
when you're winning?
Yep. What about captures? Stop doing all those captures just because we can them. So slight tendency to take too often. So that was evident in both of the games. But you played pretty well in both of them, so well done. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I hope most of you will now go online to the team site in Turkey that we've been looking at and see how Bobby and Justin finish off their games. And it should go for, I think, 10 days, the whole tournament. So if you've got nothing to do over the next few days, keep logging on and seeing how Australia's going and barrack for the Aussies. And I'll see you all next week. So thank you very much, Joe, and good night to everyone.
The organizer has ended the session.